Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. By the video title, you know what this video is about. We have two versions of this video. We're going to have the strengths and weaknesses of the Steelers offense, and we'll have the defense. I'm doing back to back. My fourth video I've made in this whole setting. I made four videos straight, and I have one more after that, and I'm done for a few days. So we'll see what happens. But I want to talk about, of course, the strengths and weaknesses of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. The Steelers offense, of course, have a lot of different strengths. They have a lot of weaknesses as well. We're going to start off with the weaknesses first. And the main one, of course, is receiver 2. A lot of people have been kind of speculating about receiver 2. And it's not because the depth is just super horrible. Like, they just, because it's unknown. Like, it's unknown. We don't know what to expect from the depth. Because you have DK Metcalf, who I believe is a good player, who's a good receiver. Not elite, because I feel like elite is like for the best of the best. They got to be all pro level. All pro type guys, guys who are leading the league in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns and receptions and stuff like those are like aside for the elite. I don't feel like he's top 5 receiver, but he's definitely probably top 12 ish around that range of receiver. So he's a good player. So you have him as your number one receiver, and also you have Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin's first year, 0 yards because he was injured the whole entire season. Second year, 140 something yards, which was in the best. He had one good game against the Raiders, really, and that was like week 3 or 4, I think week 3, I believe, when the Steelers played. And after that, was nothing too special. But in this past year, he had 548 yards, went out there and made a big-time jump. And I think he can make a bigger jump, too, if he go out there and play more in a Tyler Lockett type of style. I kept mentioning that weeks after week after week. And he played more in a style where he's kind of like Tyler Lockett type, where he's going out there and using his quickness and speed and those crosser routes and those slants, those drags, those different routes like that in space, like moving in space with the ball in his hands like Tyreek Hill does. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill or any of these guys on Tyler Lockett or anybody, but if he can play like in their style, I feel like he can get a lot more production, especially instead of them just using him as a deep threat, just chucking the ball down the field to get, hoping he go out there and make a play, which is cool too as well. But I feel like him opening up and like thrashing the defense in the middle of the field and doing different things can open up a lot more for him too as well. But after him, there's really a lot of question marks because you don't know about Roman Wilson. And Roman Wilson going to be as good as we think he's going to be. We know he was good at Michigan, of course. 12 touchdowns, 800 plus yards. Michigan's last year, but last year only played 3 snaps. That was a Raiders game too. Another Raiders thing. Played 3 snaps, and then he didn't really play the rest of the season. And he didn't get targeted either. And then you look at, of course, Robert Woods. We know in the past he's been very good, like years back, but injury concerns. He's a little older, and a lot of injuries been happening for him the past few years. Like that. So we'll see how he kind of shape out and look. And after that, you really kind of have a lot of question marks. So that's why it's like the depth is kind of unknown. People don't expect. Now those guys go out there and just ball out and play well. Of course you can expect some, it won't be a question anymore because the Steelers gonna mostly just be running the ball a lot anyway. So you won't be seeing receiver 2 get 1,000 yards probably, but you probably see DK Metcalf get like 13 or 1,400 receiving yards, and you'll see probably about Calvin Austin or somebody getting about 600 or 700 receiving yards, which is good. But you want to see that third guy at least be around that 400, 500 yard range. And the Steelers still have question marks around to see can those guys stay consistent throughout the year and be good and stuff as well. So that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses on the Steelers team offense right there. Because besides that, you might say the offensive line, since they haven't played a lot of games together and the chemistry there, but the offensive line have been better the past few years and stuff. I feel like the pieces they added have been better. Like Zach Frazier, McCormick has helped out a lot. Brady Jones, I know he has ups and downs, but he had more positive than what we had in the past like that. I think now him moving back to the left side going to help out a lot. Trevor China, when he did play in those first few games, he was healthy. He looked very good. So I think overall the O-line has gotten better, but the lack of chemistry, of course, they haven't played a full season together, might be a little weakness. But besides that, I feel like the Steelers' strengths, of course, are their weapons. You having, of course, the big tight ends you have on your team. You have Jonas Smith, you have Pat Fryermuth, you have Darnell Washington. The Steelers need to find a way to exploit and create a lot of mismatches in the secondary against opposing teams, because when you have these big targets like Jonas Smith who run a 4.344 at that size, a 6'6", running that like that, you have Pat Fryermuth around the same size as well. Physicality he has, of course, Darnell Washington as well, and DK Metcalf. You can create a lot of mismatches, because there's going to be a lot of disadvantages for opposing teams because they're not big enough. And then you do put a bigger guy on those tight ends, and you're not fast enough to stay with those tight ends, of course. So we're going to see a lot of mismatches. I want the Steelers to exploit that. I want them to go out there and use 13 personnel. I want them to go out there and use 12 personnel, do different things. We have 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, where you have 3 tight ends and 1 receiver, and 1 receiver being DK Metcalf on the outside, and you're creating a lot of different mayhem, of course, for opposing teams. I think that would be very good. That's one big strength the Steelers have. Another strength, of course, is The O-line. The O-line could be a weakness and a strength, because the positive, because the O-line is very athletic. We have a lot of guys who can get out there in space. And I feel like they're going to open up a lot more for the rushing attack. Caleb Johnson should have a lot of success as well. I feel like the Steelers got these strengths. More strengths than weaknesses this year on offense. Of course, the offense, we still have to see if they can stay consistent throughout the year and see how they look once the games start. But I feel like this year, the pieces they added, they have more strength than weaknesses, because you do have a veteran, future Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, one of the top 5, probably the top 10 quarterback. I don't say top 5. Well, maybe, but top 10 quarterback of all time. Aaron Rodgers, you have him on your team. Yes, he's not the same Aaron Rodgers he once was, but he still has the capability of going out there and being a pretty good player. And I think you have him on your team leading the charge, the veteran presence he has with these weapons. That right there is a strength in itself. Like that, having a guy who's been there, who's done that before, who's been in the top before, who led good teams as well. I think he's been to the Super Bowl one time, he won one time, but he's been to a lot of championship games. He's been in a lot of big games, big opportunities, and a lot of clutch moments, of course, in his career. So I think this right here is a lot of positives, I think, for the Steelers offense. But let me know down below what you guys think about the strength and the weaknesses of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And I'll see you guys most likely on the next edition, which will probably be the defense one as well. I'm going to release them back to back, or release them on the day apart or something like that. But you can kind of see what I do with it. But I'll see you guys when I see you. Peace out.